Hi. All right, let's talk human design. I want to talk about like the origin of human design and kind of the different ways that some people come to understanding human design, and like the origin of it, which was a guy, Ra-Uhuru, which is an adopted name that he took on after he received a transmission via the voice, and it gave him all the information that he needed to kind of like weave all of the parts of human design together, the different systems like the I Ching and astrology and the chakra system and quantum physics and biology and all of the aspects, and kind of like he got a whole bunch come through in this package. But then he had to gather and employ people that he sort of knew in his network to help discern the information, to help make the information into a system that we could then read. So lots of people contributed to like teasing out the information and building like the body graph and building how we read it. And a lot of the terminology was like developed in coordination, like over time with people. But Ra himself had his own particular design. And so he was really here to bring through the shock of the system and the shock factor of some of the kind of harsh language that is used in human design. It creates these triggers, and the triggers really get us to confront the conditioning field and what is not us, and also to like, it really is shadow work. If you're into shadow work, you really have to adopt love and understanding for like all of your aspects. And when you see it on a piece of paper, it's very confronting. Some of these words, they really do like move things within you and get your cells and at a genetic level, you begin to your cells respond, right? So some people really love to stick closely to the original material because of the trigger factor and because of its discomfort. We want to walk into that discomfort with an acknowledgement or recognition that it's through that discomfort that we come to know ourselves more clearly. And as this system is becoming more popular and we're seeing a lot of uptick with human design, there is also a tendency to kind of round the edges, and people are entitled to take the system and put their own swing, they put their own filter, because as we become familiar with ourselves, of course, like we are the expression of our consciousness. This is how we express consciousness. So certainly there are lots of people here and myself and whoever to like come and take the system and then, provide their version of it. And some people, it might be about rounding out the edges, like making things softer and more palatable. There's people that do work with archetypes, and they've applied archetypes to all of the gates, the I Ching gates, which is, a fantastic layer of information, how to look at it. Of course, we've got the gene keys, which is a different system, but it works very well with human design. And that gives us a real like contemplative and, this very beautiful and a more feminine way of looking at ourselves. And, it's great to know the gene keys as well. I think like if you're doing human design, you want to go deep in human design, then inevitably, I'm probably not supposed to be here. I'm in near a racetrack. Anyway, there's horses coming and going. Like gene keys is probably an inevitable thing. Some people come to gene keys first and then like find human design like through that or whatever. Human design works in symphony with lots and lots and lots, like everything else. That's I always say that's why I've come to it and feel so strongly about it, because of all of the other groundwork and foundations that I've learned in all the other places, like in how the mechanics of the human design system fits it all in. Like there's explanations for all of it, so it makes a lot of sense, very logical. But yeah, so some people, like, okay, what do I want to say? Like, there's this terminology like there's a pop version where the kind of language is a bit shorthanded. Some of the ways that we say sort of things is a bit shorthanded. Things are a bit like, people are spoon-fed a little bit more. Maybe it's like, making it more palatable and making it more like approachable, I guess, or like easier to deliver for marketing and for business, less confronting and conflicting, potentially. And I think all that is all very well and good. And even when I do readings, like I probably do tend to lean into the easier or the more positive, the more optimistic side of things, because I do want people to feel good and know what is good about them. But there's also this very, 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 very important layer. Like, I'm not going to say it's more important or the most important, but it is as important, like it's all important, that we really have to go through those triggerings, and we need to go through the spark and the shock to our system. Some of us, maybe we all don't, I don't know, it's who am I to say, but generally speaking, like that's the experience of myself and a lot of other people that have gone through this system and stuck with it and gone through the experimenting over, we just keep going, because it says you need like around 7 years to decondition. So if you're in that first 7-year part of deconditioning, then you're probably in it for the long haul, is what I'm saying. And there's plenty of times when like I get really invested in the system, and I'm an analyst, so like I want to be learning all the time. But then you also need to just kind of like let go of the system and like get into your body and get into your actual experience and do like that experiment. I think this guy's stopping me. So yeah, that's that 7-year deconditioning. If you've even gone like a couple of years in, what was I saying? Yeah, that's right. You need to like kind of like let it go a little bit and like get into your body, and like part of it is surrendering and not trying to control everything with the logical mind. So like we can get quite caught up with the system of, following the mind and like, how is this going to work and how am I going to decode this? And part of it is really just the ignition factor, or that shock and that spark from some of that like pointy pokey language that really like gets into those wounds or those trigger points or those things that society tells us like that we shouldn't be, or we should be ashamed of, or that is something to conceal or to hide. And maybe in life, and maybe yes, okay, there are some things that you don't need to tell everybody about, but it shouldn't be because you need to hide it for the sake of concealing it because we're full of shame about it. Obviously we witness there's a lot of corruption and devastation on the planet. We all see it, we all experience it. Even like in our immediate space, or like something that we see broadcast, and we can have a lot of theories about the information that is spoon-fed to us so that we have this particular perspective. And when we think about that, in a sense, like, it kind of amplifies things and makes things seem really overwhelming, and there's no point in fighting against it. And that's, that real apathetic thing that, people can succumb to if you plug into the matrix and you let that be spoon-fed into you. So what am I trying to say? Yeah, the different styles and way that human design comes through. So that's what I'm trying to say, is there may be some very attractive readers out there that have everything looking good and shiny, and I love that, and I want to have that like one day potentially myself, but that may never happen because I'm actually very raw, and no matter how much like I might try and play the game of like cleaning everything up and making it really tidy, it's messy, and I love that. That's my creativity, that's my essence and my ability to be raw and natural. And like the more I lean into that, the more peace I feel, and the more comfort I feel, and the more my cells relax. And so if I want to deliver human design analysis and I want to work with people, then they're really going to get me on this raw level. We're going to have raw conversations, and you're going to be able to pull out your secrets, and you're going to be able to like pull out the darkness, and we're going to like acknowledge it and own it. And that is where the power is. That's the underscoring underworld dark essence power. It's not that we want to like or need to live only in darkness or like only be it's not like I would support people to like lie, cheat and steal. It's not like that. We still want to be working on a pathway to attain our highest ideal. We're still like working on that highest ideal, but how can we own and honor and leverage all of the aspects of the way that consciousness is expressed through us? So we don't want to be denying or suppressing aspects, but we need to find a way to channel them. And there are multiple and many ways that you can harness and channel these darker aspects. But I guess the thing that we want to avoid is pretending that they don't exist, or because that's pretending that part of you doesn't exist, and which will throw you entirely off which way you want to go. It just makes a big muddle, So that's where I'm going with this, like the different styles of human design, like being somebody I want to be close to the original material. I enjoy and do appreciate and like want to use as well some of the other ways that people have kind of created and brought in as ways to look at things, particularly archetypes. I really enjoy. I think that's Christina Inge. And there are a lot of different theories on the original Guy Ra. There's a lot of like talk in the scene, in the human design scene, about like this, he wasn't particularly a nice guy. And that might be so, but you know what? I've known so many people who aren't typically like considered to be the cream of society, and they have amazing things to offer. They have wonderful things to offer, and I feel like it's that denial piece or that oppression or suppression piece, but it's also the spark and the shock of some of the challenging language of the original material, which is what shocks you into the awareness and ownership of those shadow aspects. So with that being said, that's my perspective on that. There's probably more to come on that, who knows, but I'm going to wrap it up here and blow this up. So if you want to check me out, have a reading with me, meet up, I've got a website, naturalflowalchemy.com, or email me at natalie@naturalflowalchemy.com. Go to my website. I would appreciate it. Just send me a message, comment below what your thoughts are. Have an awesome day. Mwah.